The moment she walked through those revolving glass doors, carrying a bag that had been repaired twice with iron-on patches, every eye in that marble lobby found something else to look at. Every eye except his. He was standing near the reception desk in a charcoal blazer, silver cufflinks catching the light, a half-empty glass of sparkling water in one hand. He looked at her the way some people look at furniture that has been placed in the wrong room. Then his gaze dropped, slowly, deliberately, to the boy walking beside her, holding her hand. And then something shifted in his face. "Why," he said, loud enough for the entire room to hear, "does your son look like me?" The room went quiet. A woman near the elevator stopped pressing the button. A receptionist looked up from her screen, and Maya Osei, 31 years old, charter accountant, single mother, and the sharpest mind in any room she was ever willing to enter, took one breath. Then she smiled. "Before we continue, please like and subscribe, and let us know in the comments where you're watching from. Stories like this one remind us what quiet strength actually looks like." Maya had not planned to be at the Granville Hotel that Thursday morning. She had planned to drop her son Eli off at his school across the street, then walk the 2 blocks to her office on Forsyth Street, pour her second coffee of the day, and spend the morning reviewing third-quarter variance reports for a client whose books had not balanced properly since the previous autumn. That was the plan. But Eli had forgotten his permission slip, which meant Maya had to stop at the front desk of Whitmore Academy, which meant she was running 6 minutes behind, which meant she cut through the side entrance of the Granville Hotel. A shortcut she had used hundreds of times since her office building shared a pedestrian courtyard with the hotel's east wing. Eli was 7. He had his mother's precise dark eyes and her habit of noticing things other people missed. That morning he was wearing his school blazer, navy with a gold crest, and carrying a drawing he had made the night before of a blue whale with mathematically questionable proportions, but genuine artistic feeling. He was also, as it happened, wearing a small gold pin on his lapel, a lion's head, the kind given out at the regional mathematics competition for children under 10. He had won it 3 weeks earlier. Maya had clipped it on him herself. The man in the charcoal blazer was named Clifton Arbor. He was 44, a commercial property developer whose name appeared on 4 buildings in the city's financial district, and whose photograph ran twice a year in a local business magazine beside phrases like visionary and market leader. He had a wide smile that he deployed like a tool and a habit of speaking just slightly louder than the room required, as if every space he entered was a stage he had graciously agreed to perform on. He was at the Granville that morning for a quarterly investors' breakfast, which was being held in the private dining room on the mezzanine level. Several of his associates were already gathered nearby, 2 men in similar blazers and a woman in a pale gray suit who worked as his communications director. Her name was Sandra Reeves, and she had spent 4 years learning exactly how to laugh at the right moments. When Clifton said it, "Why does your son look like me?" Sandra laughed. One of the men smiled. The other looked at the floor. Maya recognized the moment immediately. She had grown up in a city that sometimes looked at her the way Clifton was looking at her now, and she had learned something important. The people who use public humiliation as a weapon are counting on your reaction to be the story. They need you loud, or tearful, or defensive. They need you to perform guilt, even when you have none. She did not perform. "I'm sorry," she said pleasantly, as if he had asked her the time. "I don't believe we've met." Clifton smiled the way a man smiles when he thinks he's already won. "No, but your son has my grandfather's nose, and those eyes." He said it casually, gesturing toward Eli as if the boy were an object being appraised. "Interesting coincidence." "Is it?" Maya said. She did not raise her voice. She gently moved Eli slightly behind her, not out of shame, but the way a person moves something precious out of the path of careless traffic. Clifton took a step closer. "Who's his father?" he asked, and the room's ambient sound dropped another degree. "That," Maya said, "is not a question I'm going to answer in a hotel lobby to a man I have never met." Clifton's smile did not waver, but something behind it did. He was not accustomed to calm. Calm was harder to perform against than anger. He pivoted. "I don't think you work here," he said, "and I don't think this is a public thoroughfare. The East Corridor is a shared pedestrian access between this property and the Forsyth Street commercial block," Maya said. "It has been since 2019, per the city planning agreement filed when this building applied for its expanded occupancy permit." A beat of silence. Sandra Reeves stopped smiling. Clifton looked at Maya as if recalibrating. Then he turned toward the reception desk, where a young man named Theo had been watching with the particular stillness of someone who does not know which way a situation is about to fall. "Can someone call security?" Clifton said. "I'd like this woman removed." Theo picked up the phone. He hesitated. His hand rested on the receiver for 3 full seconds before he dialed. And in those 3 seconds, Eli looked up at the man in the charcoal blazer with the mother's precise dark eyes and said in his clear, unhurried 7-year-old voice, "You have the same pin as me." Everyone looked. On Clifton Arbor's blazer lapel, partially obscured by the fold of his pocket square, was a small gold pin. A lion's head, identical to Eli's. Clifton looked down. Something moved across his face that was not quite guilt and not quite fear, but lived in the territory between them. "Where did you get that?" Eli asked with genuine curiosity and no agenda. "It was my father's," Clifton said, and his voice for the first time had lost its performance quality. "I won mine," Eli said. He held up his drawing of the whale. "I also do art." The woman in the gray suit, Sandra Reeves, had gone very still. Security arrived. A calm, broad-shouldered man named Gerald, who had worked at the Granville for 11 years and had a precise instinct for situations that were not what they appeared to be. He looked at Maya. He looked at Clifton. He looked at the small boy with the whale drawing and the gold lion pin. "Ma'am," Gerald said carefully, "is everything all right?" "I was using the pedestrian corridor," Maya said, "as I do every Thursday." Gerald nodded slowly. He had, in fact, seen her before. He had held the east wing door for her on several occasions. He said nothing about this yet. He was listening. Clifton straightened. "This woman was loitering, and I want her out. I have a private function upstairs, and I don't need disruptions." "Mr. Arbor," Gerald said, "the East Corridor is a public access route. I can't remove someone for using a public access route." Clifton's jaw tightened. "Then I'll have a conversation with your manager about whether this hotel values its corporate clients." "You're welcome to do that," Gerald said without heat. "My manager is available. Her name is Ms. Whitfield, and she's just through there." It was at this point that the other thing happened. The thing that changed everything. And that Maya had not planned. And that no one in that lobby could have anticipated. A woman came through the mezzanine staircase door at a brisk walk. She was perhaps 60, in a well-cut black jacket with reading glasses pushed up on her head and a leather portfolio under one arm. Her name was Dr. Adeza Nwosu, and she was a forensic financial consultant who had been retained by the city's Commercial Development Oversight Board to review several property investment portfolios, including, as it happened, the 3 holding companies associated with Clifton Arbor's most recent commercial project. She was at the Granville that morning because the investors' breakfast upstairs was in part her meeting. Dr. Nwosu stopped when she saw the gathering. She looked at Clifton, she looked at Maya, and then she looked more carefully at Maya. "Maya Osei?" she said. Maya turned. Dr. Nwosu? I thought that was you. Dr. Nwosu walked over. She shook Maya's hand with the warmth of someone who had been waiting to do so. I read your analysis on the meridian variance irregularities, published in the Professional Quarterly last spring. Outstanding methodology. Genuinely the clearest reconstruction I've seen in years. She paused. Are you all right? What's going on here? The lobby had not recovered from the moment Eli mentioned the pin. It did not recover now either. Clifton said nothing. For the first time that morning, he had nothing to deploy. Sandra Reeves looked at him. Then she looked at Dr. Nwosu. Then she looked at Maya and her son. And something in her expression shifted, not dramatically, not loudly, but the way a person shifts when they realize they have been standing on the wrong side of a line and the line has just become visible. Nothing is going on, Maya said simply. I was on my way to work. Dr. Nwosu looked at Clifton one more time with the flat, assessing gaze of a woman who had spent 30 years reading numbers and the people who tried to hide behind them. Then she turned back to Maya. I've been trying to find a lead analyst for a 6-month oversight engagement, she said. My current firm doesn't have the bandwidth. Would you have any interest in a conversation? Maya looked at her son. Eli was still holding his whale drawing. He had, in the manner of 7-year-olds everywhere, already moved on from the drama entirely, and was examining a decorative potted plant near the window with scientific curiosity. Yes, Maya said. I would. She took Eli's hand, nodded once to Gerald, and walked through the east corridor and out into the morning light. Behind her she heard nothing dramatic. No collapse, no confrontation, no raised voices. Just the particular silence of a room that has witnessed something it will not quite be able to describe later, but will not forget. Gerald, as he would tell his wife that evening, had seen a lot of things in 11 years at that hotel. He had seen deals made and marriages ended, and one unforgettable incident involving a championship chess team and a misidentified delivery. But he had never seen a man undone so completely by a 7-year-old's observation about a lapel pin. The conversation Maya had with Dr. Nwosu happened the following Tuesday at an office on the 14th floor of a building with clean windows and good coffee. The engagement was 6 months with a possibility of extension. The work was exactly the kind Maya was best at, detailed, consequential, and conducted by people who cared about getting it right. Eli, for his part, entered his whale, drawing in his school's art fair 3 weeks later. It did not win, but his teacher told Maya privately that it showed, and this is a direct quote, a remarkable instinct for negative space. What Clifton Arbor encountered that morning was not extraordinary. He encountered a woman who knew her rights, a child who saw clearly, and a room full of people who ultimately could not pretend they hadn't seen what they saw. That is all. That is enough. Dignity is not something that can be taken in a lobby or a boardroom or any room at all by any person who has not been given it to hold. It stays with the person who earned it, through the long mornings and the repaired bags and the permission slips and the variance reports, through every small act of competence and care. It stays. If this story moved you, leave a comment and tell us what part stayed with you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now is a good time. There are more stories where this one came from.